Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert here from the Business Awards show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm joined by Nicola Lutz, who's a sales coach in the education sector. She has two businesses, Study Travel Limited and No Fluff Limited, which I love the name of that, Nicola. You can tell me all about that in a minute. Nicola has her own awards, which we're going to talk about. She's also a judge on awards, and she's also won awards herself. So welcome, Nicola.
Thank you very much. Absolutely lovely to be here.
So on our show, we always start off by finding out a bit about you and what you're doing and how you ended up doing what you're doing, because it's never always a simple story. There's always lots of things that have happened to people along the way. So what brought you into the education sector as a sales coach?
Well, I was at university and I needed some beer money. So I got a very part-time job in the evening selling delivery of the Coventry Evening Telegraph into people's homes. So I was telesales and it was quite hard, but I was quite good at it. My degree was in languages. And then I saw a job advertised in The Guardian, I remember. This is pre-web days. And it says, can you sell? Do you speak French and Spanish? Would you like to travel? And I went, yep, that is my job. And I phoned and said, that's my job. They said, send us your CV, you weirdo, which I did, but I did get the job. And I've been there ever since. So that was Study Travel, known as different things then. And then about 7 years ago, I wanted to shake things up a bit and I wanted to help my clients, really, my study travel clients, so the schools and education consultants, to sell more, because what they do is amazing. And that, that understanding of different cultures and nationalities around the world has got to be a good thing. But they're mainly academics, for example, or marketing, which isn't sales. So that's how I set it up. And No Fluff, because I'm quite direct. No Fluff, that's the way all the other stuff.
Give us a bit of an insight into Study Travel and what that business actually provides.
It provides, so it was set up by a gentleman called Scott Wade. There are three of us that are directors of it, and Stephen Roberts. And what it does is bring together, it's business to business, it brings together educators and education agents or consultants around the world. So it's a bit like bringing together hotel chains with tourist operators or travel agents like TUI or something. So they send the education consultants globally will send students to a UK boarding school or a French language school or a Canadian university, for example. So it's a massive industry. It's one of those industries you don't know exists.
Exactly.
Dive in. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was sitting there thinking. I thought, my goodness, people are going to be sitting listening to the podcast thinking, what is this world
I know
that we don't know about that's going on out there?
It's a massive export, for many countries.
Yeah, incredible. So you set up your own awards for this industry 15 years ago?
Yeah, so Study Travel did. Yeah, we set up our own awards. There weren't really any at the time, particularly for that business-to-business relationship between the agents, the education agents and the educators. And we wanted to set an awards up to reward that. We also already had several events. We had a big gala dinner happening anyway. So it seemed like a natural progression so everyone could network, but also celebrate that relationship together. So the awards are born out of that. We naively thought it would be pretty easy, and obviously it gets more complicated.
Yes, I know. I love it when other award organisers say this on the show, because I think people just think you click your fingers and you can get an awards together, on the back of a envelope, which you really can't.
No.
So what sort of categories do you have, and tell us a bit about how it's judged?
So we try and keep it simple. So the categories are similar each year. We actually have two awards. One is for the mainstream education and language sector, and another one is for the secondary sector specifically, which has kind of grown into its own thing. So we have categories like the best, we can't say best legally, can we? So the star newest agency in the world, so less than 4 or 5 years old. We might have the star chain school. So obviously it's not fair for them to compete with the little guys. And then we'll have the star language school in France, or the star pathway provider, or star service provider as well. Work experience providers. And then for the secondary one, it's geography based really. So high school program in Europe, high school program in Canada, and then the vice versa for the agents.
Excellent.
That makes sense for our sector. And how they're judged, so it's a number. So this is the most simple we can make it. It's still not simple. So it's judged by number of votes. So the number of people that vote for their favourite partners. And so it's judged quite often, not just on numbers that people are sending, but on customer service and how they got them out of the tight squeeze when there was a problem. So, you can win on numbers, and you have to obviously ask your partners to vote for you. So it's just done on numbers, and the finalists are announced in August, actually, for this year's events, and then the winner is announced on the night itself. So we don't have a judging panel. Mm. We went through all of these different permeations, and actually this is the way we've found it is the most simple. So we go on numbers rather than panel for the study travel.
Yeah, there's not one size all with awards. I think it has to work for the particular industry. And if that's the methodology that works for your industry, then that's perfectly fine. And the final looks very swish at the Grosvenor House Hotel. And I guess people come in from all over the world for that.
Yes, it's amazing. It's very moving every year. So we start the conference on the Friday night, then people have appointments all day on the Saturday, and then we have the awards on the Saturday night. So they are a bit exhausted, but it's super fun. And there are, I think, 100 and something countries represented, just over 100 countries represented there. So it's amazing. And this is the first time they've seen each other probably all year, which is lovely. And we get people coming back year after year, as well as people that are new to the industry. It's like meeting up with your family again. It's like organizing a big wedding.
Fantastic. And it's like a networking opportunity, I'm guessing, for people who come as well.
Yes, obviously having the award, or even being a finalist in the award is great, and you have logos and things to display, and I think that's brilliant. And then obviously if you win, that's fantastic. And you get to network. There's just the most amazing band afterwards, and obviously a bar that goes on till forever. But I'm usually on stage, so I'm not near the bar, because I would slur my words otherwise. That's not a good.
No, I do love a good after party. Everybody that knows me knows that. And I always think awards that kind of just finish at the end and there's nothing, it kind of feels a bit flat.
Yeah,
it's nice to do the celebration and have the relaxation of an after party afterwards, where you can sort of really celebrate.
Absolutely.
So you judge awards. Talk me through what awards that you judge, and what do you look for in an award entry?
It varies depending on what their setup is. So I'll give an example one of BETA, BETA, which is youth travel. It's the youth. It's a joined industry. So I'm a judge for them, and they do it in a different way. So they have a panel of judges from different sectors that aren't involved with the clients, generally, so slightly apart. And we're given spreadsheets which give the entries and the details. And number of employees and that kind of thing, and then usually there's a video that goes with it, which I really love, because they do a video specifically for the judging, which is really good. But there's so much that goes into this. This is a massive thing. It's much harder to set up. And in terms of what I look for, it's quite hard as a judge, because you don't want to do it all in one go, because you're going to get a bit tired and blind to it after a while. And we're asked to judge on certain criteria and mark kind of out of 10 for each of those criteria. So they have given us a really easy method of doing that. But I try and come fresh to it. So I allocate about half an hour per category per day for about a week or so. And then I go into the entries in that particular category and watch them over the week rather than be exhausted by it. But I really look for passion which is funny because obviously I'm a numbers girl because I'm in sales, but I'm looking for that passion and the understanding of what they bring and what it would mean to them to win and what I've done since the last year. I'm looking for some forward movement quite often. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm sure everybody looks for something a bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I think with our awards, I always have a mix of heart-led judges and analytical judges, you know, people that really do drill down on all the numbers and look at all the, you know, customer trajectory and all of that sort of thing. And I think in any judging panel, if you are going to go down the route of a panel, you need a mix of types of personalities and people from different industries, I think, to give it a really good, you know, make sure that your judging is fair. It's a fair process. And I think that's the most important thing with awards, that the process is fair.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, nothing is fail-safe, I think.
No.
You know, the best in the world might just not enter.
Yeah, exactly. It's only the best of the people that actually bothered to put the entry in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Absolutely, you must. And I think it's such a great thing. So I've won a few myself and been nominated quite a few times and not won. And it is a bit disappointing on the day when you don't win. I think everyone's got to be a bit honest about that. But it is such an honour just to be nominated. It's amazing. Someone's taken the time to nominate you. That's to be celebrated in itself. And it's great for marketing. It adds credibility and kudos, I think, and that's lovely. And it obviously helps the organisation out that's hosting it. And I love when people thank the people that organise the awards. Not everybody does on stage, but when they do, I think that's always lovely because there's so much that goes into it.
There is, and it's absolutely life-changing for a lot of people, whatever you do, whether you're an organisation or whether you're an individual entrepreneur, because it can actually open so many doors for you if you win an award. And I was talking to somebody today on the podcast who runs her own awards in the care sector. So similar in a way that she runs an industry-specific award like yours. And it can be really, really so, you know, incredibly amazing to get that endorsement and be seen as a leader in your own industry is quite incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got organisations that have been nominated and finalists for many, many years and actually haven't won. But they're on that list every single year. So every single year they're consistently producing enough quality to make it to the finals. Not everybody does. And I think that's a real testament to their quality as well.
Definitely. So in terms of tips on sales, obviously this is your area, and our podcast is really aimed at individual entrepreneurs. I mean, we do get people who work for businesses that listen to it, but it is mostly individual entrepreneurs that listen to our podcast. So what sort of tips would you give people on selling? Because it is a big subject, isn't it?
It's a huge subject. My favourite bit of selling, so I wrote a book last year about this, is the follow-up part. So I think we easily give up. So we get the leads in, and we're all very good at the marketing and the socials, and the leads come in, and we've spent time and money on them. Or even if it's email, we still spent time and effort there. And they're not generally followed up with a robust process, which doesn't mean that you're stalking people and pestering them all the time. It's done with humanity and integrity and adding value, but always with that aim of qualifying them early. Are they a good fit for you? And then how can we progress them just to that next step? Quite often we're aiming for that sale. And it depends what you're offering. If it's a product, then it's easier to aim for the sale rather than a service, which takes a bit more nurturing. But you need to kind of keep nurturing. About 50% aren't ready to buy when they inquire. So if you don't sell to them then and you give up, you're missing 50% because they're just not ready yet and they're shopping around like we all do. And the more expensive the thing that you're selling, the more nurturing you need to do, which is basically follow up. So that's my favourite area, and picking up the phone and calling people is another one of my favourite areas because people just don't like to do it, and we pretend that other people don't like it, but that's actually just not true.
No, I think you're right. No, I think you're right. It is about that personal contact, isn't it, with somebody?
It's rapport. It's all about humans. And I think in a world where there's a lot of noise, if you can tap into each other's humanity, you're much more likely to get to where you need to be, particularly in the business to business side. It's about relationships.
Well, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day that was talking about the younger generation don't like picking up the phone. And it's true, because I've had a couple of staff, young people that have worked for me, and I've almost had to start off with some telephone training to begin with, because they didn't want to ring anybody.
No.
They just, wanted a text or email, did not want to call people. So it's a bit of a skill that maybe is dying off a little bit, do you think?
I think it is. And so my daughter won't get on the phone. She's slightly anxious, so she just won't pick up the phone. When I go into a younger team to train and coach, they always like, well, we'll send an email first. We'll do this first. I'm like, oh, you can, but I'm still going to make you pick up the phone. But when they do it and they connect with a human and have a conversation, they actually love it. It's very much it's getting that monkey off your back, first of all, I think, getting past that first one. But yeah, telephone conversations, not even sales, is a skill. And I think if young people can get to grips with it, they're going to be off and running, because anyone can text and put a social media post up, but not everyone is going to call. So if you need to stand out, then you need to do something that nobody else is doing, and that might be a little bit out of your comfort zone. If you're a human on the other end of the line, then you're all good, as long as it's relevant, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
calling for something random.
No, I know, and it is about having a purpose behind the call, isn't it? But I do think we do hide behind email a lot now, and actually you can sometimes get an answer just by picking up the phone, rather than a long trail of emails going backwards and forward, and stuff easily gets lost or misinterpreted in email, doesn't it?
Definitely.
So in terms of a sales process, what should people be thinking about? I mean, should they be using CRMs, or should they just find a system that kind of works for them?
I'm always going to be on the side of the CRM, because I think they make your life a lot easier. And there are free ones out there that you can use. I'm a big fan. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I'm a big fan of HubSpot.
Oh, I love HubSpot.
CRM.
Yeah.
And it's free up to 1,000 contacts. So especially if you're again B2B and you don't have that many, why wouldn't you? It's got your calendar, it links up with your email, it's got a pipeline in it. Knowing a CRM is only ever going to be as good as what you put in it, like anything, like GPT or anything. So you need to know what a pipeline is and what your process is. And if you just map out the steps that somebody needs to take to go from inquiry dropping or the meeting happening through to purchase and possibly delivery and referral, what steps are there? So is there a consultation call? And is there T's and C's to be signed? So what is that part of the pipeline? And then you just go and refine that pipeline. So I could spend days just doing one tiny bit of the pipeline, because maybe they're sent the quote and they're not accepting the quote. So we have to look at that part to get the conversions up. And you just look at mini conversions. So building your own process, you can still do that within a CRM. You just rename the pipeline stages. But yes, I would say definitely use the tech if you can, if it's free. The book that I wrote does assume you don't have tech. So you can do it with a calendar and a piece of paper, because I know lots of people will otherwise use it as an excuse to not get started.
So tell us more about the book. What's the book called?
It's called Spend Less, Sell More.
Oh, right. Okay. So what does that cover?
It's all about follow-up. So first of all starts with the customer. So we talk about obviously mindset around follow-up, and we talk about the customer and how we think they don't want to be pestered, but actually they want more information along the way. There's lots of stats in there, and then it takes you through how to set up your own personalized follow-up plan. And it just takes you through how to do it. It's actually quite simple.
And that's on Amazon, is it?
On Amazon, yeah.
Okay. So had you identified there was a need for this book then, having sort of worked with businesses and found that their processes are a bit lax?
Yes, and it's the main thing that companies will pay me to do with them, because immediately you see they get their return on me back straight away. And obviously it's carry through. But not everyone can afford to employ me, and not everyone will want to. They just want to go and quietly do it themselves. So it was for them. It's an easy way of doing it without feeling intimidated or, using lots of bro marketing language and all that kind of stuff. It's very chatty and very easy, and you should come out of it with your plan that you can stick on a bit of paper next to your calendar and get it done. And you'll see the more sales.
Comes back to the no fluff, doesn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's delivered in a straightforward way, but a nice way as well.
So do you speak at events as well?
Yes, quite a few, whether online or in person. And I host my own event every January as well, No Fluff Fest.
Oh, No Fluff Fest. Tell us about that.
No Fluff Fest.
I just love the name.
I know. It's like I'm organising my own sales and marketing event for my sector. So it's huge fun. It's no fluff. So each session you have at least 3 takeaways that you can use to grow your inquiries very directly, or convert inquiries into sales. And it's all to do with the student recruitment part of my world. So we'll have a load of speakers. They're always in fun venues. So this year or next January, it's going to be in a Cuban bar in Manchester. They're quite vibrant and fun. Lots of really good speakers. We've actually got one session purely on picking up the phone by a positive psychology coach, because that's a gap. I can see what's happening with all my clients for the year, and then I book the speakers to help with that. And there's a fringe event as well now, because I can't fit all the fun into one day, so I've had to do more. So that's No Fluff Fest. And then the study travel events are called Alfies, and we've got about 15 of those around the world, so they're very well established. We've got a few new ones this year, which is exciting, but I'm not going. So one in Australia and one in Mexico, but I won't be making it, which is a shame.
My goodness, I don't know where you get the time to do all of this.
I have an amazing team at Study Travel that
I was going to say, you must have.
So over the course of the nearly 30 years I've been there, the team's expanded and grown. No Fluff, it is me and a very small team, and I quite like it that way. So that's consultancy, if you like. I like that way. But yeah, Study Travel is bigger, with just the most amazing family of very, very dedicated people that love what they do. Yeah, very amazing.
And where are you based? Where's Study Travel based in the UK?
It's based in, we all work from home as well, but mainly in King's Cross in London.
Oh, yes. Nice area.
Yeah, and then I'm personally based near Canterbury in Whitstable.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, do like Whitstable. It's one of my favourite places.
Oh, nice.
So what's on apart from these conferences and all these things that you're doing and the awards, is there anything else that's sort of in the plans and for your business?
What the problem is, I've always got plans for my business, and part of my problem is I need to shelve the plans for my business and consolidate the things that I already so I'm constantly, I guess I'm not alone in the entrepreneurial world. I keep getting these great ideas, and they're great ideas, and I had a chat with my coaches earlier today, and they're like, we just need to sell more of that. Don't need to invent a million other things. You've got bored of talking about it. Nobody else has. They're only just warming up. You need to keep. So actually, I need to consolidate what I have. But No Fluff. The Fringe is a new thing, so we're focusing on that. And then I think for the 2026 one, we'll start streaming it, and because most of my audience is actually global, so it makes it difficult for them. So I'd like to bring them at least a version of an online kind of fest.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
because it means people can just access it wherever they are. Do you record it at the moment, or could you record it potentially and also have a paywall on that?
We can, and it will be available to the ticket holders. So last year when we did it, we had that big storm in January, remember? So we had a few people that couldn't make it. So this year we're recording all of the sessions, available to the ticket holders, And I think probably we'll give them to the next year's ticket holders if they want to catch up. But the fringe events will be recorded, and as long as you register, you can get access to the fringe events as well. So yeah, be fun.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really interesting finding out about an industry which I frankly knew nothing about. I mean, it's literally one of those hidden industries where all these things are going on behind the scenes and you just don't know it's happening. So it sounds like an incredible industry, actually.
You know, it's just the best industry. Everyone by nature is very friendly and welcoming because it's all about travel and study, learning. So everyone is very open and welcoming, and it's just a lovely, lovely industry to be in.
Sounds like you landed on your feet when you got involved in this in the early days.
I did indeed.
Oh. Well, thank you for joining me. We'll make sure that all Nicola's details are in the show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, they'll be in the description, so you can contact her if you know somebody that might be interested in working with Nicola and her team. And thank you for joining me.
You are very welcome. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.